Microdose therapy. Yo, what's going on? It's someone that's someone, and welcome back to today's report. Today's report is coming from Dr. Mind off Earwood. When this happened, 2013. The drugs used: Iboga, nicotine, and cannabis. The route of administration: orally and smoked. Gender: male. Weight: 132 pounds. Age: 32. And for his prior experience: ayahuasca, mushrooms, LSD, MDMA, amphetamine, and research chemicals. Okay, so today we have another Iboga report, this one being a collective experience spaced out over a month. Dr. Mind experiments with microdosing Iboga while increasing the dosage every week. We see by doing so, it provides him with a various amount of effects, specifically with his motivation and ability to perform well in his work. Beyond that though, as the title implies, it offers a type of therapy, one that helps him battle his struggle with addiction, and one that gives him a wider analytical perception of his life. This is a really juicy report, and if you don't know much about Iboga, we'll break it down a bit after the report. So I'm sure you'll enjoy this. Without further ado, let's dive right into it. As a transpersonal hypnotherapist, I'm going on my own process of exploration and understanding for a while now. I have quite a few experiences, quite powerful and healing ceremonies with ayahuasca, mushrooms, LSD, transpersonal hypnosis, and meditation. I quit chemical drugs like MDMA, amphetamine, and research chemicals 1 year ago after more than 10 years of heavy use. Nonetheless, there were some behavioral and psychological issues I wanted to understand and transform, habits that are not in alignment with my rational and emotional understanding of health, well-being, and conscious living. Nicotine and marijuana abuse, depressive thought structures, self-pity, lack of motivation, foggy thoughts. In the following report, I will quickly summarize the main aspects of the 4-week period, so that it will help and support other people while following this powerful path of insight and letting go of understanding, confrontation, and the development of alternate patterns and realities. I started taking the Iboga microdose every morning directly after waking up on an empty stomach with water. I would watch into a mirror using the affirmation, "I am clear, I am conscious, I am free." I would use a very small dip of the Iboga extract to feel the taste and connect to its energy before swallowing a capsule with the morning dose. I used powdered root bark. I ate vegan most of the time. Week 1. I started with a small dose of a 250 milligram capsule to check for allergies and digestive problems, slight feelings of dizziness, and loosened thought structures. Everything seemed to go more easily and with slightly more motivation. Next day, I took 500 milligrams. A lot of dizziness, but not unpleasant. I was feeling energy going. My mood was enhanced and brightened, even though I had problems to really get connected to this substance. In between, I was feeling like an excited child starting to play with something new. There was this kind of childish motivation just to have fun with doing something. Depressive thought forms that I was confronted with before disappeared slightly. If they came, I was feeling them more distant and saw them coming from outside. Next days I went with 300 milligrams 2 times a day. The first week was really coming into contact. No big insights, just getting to know each other. There just came more motivation in doing something. It sometimes reminded me of small doses of amphetamine, but without the chemical tingling in the brain. Maybe due to dopamine interactions, but much more natural and easy. No rebound effects. Week 2. I take 400 milligrams 2 times a day. The effect is powerful. I am much more awake, very clear, and precise. I feel kinda depersonified. It's me doing things, but it's also me observing myself doing things. If a feeling is approaching, I can follow the track down to the origin. In comparison to other psychedelics, it's not as magic. It's more analytical, cold, sharp, defined. I realize a lot of my self-destructing habits. Trying to quit smoking brings me forward to immense blockages, self-pity, and resistance. After some days off, I start smoking again. It feels more wrong. It's much harder to betray myself with thoughts and excuses. Using trains in the underground is sometimes frightening. I can sense clearly it's like my third eye is opening. If I look to someone, they directly sense it and look into my eyes. The eye contact is much more piercing and direct. In the underground, I sometimes feel threatened. Too dark, too narrow. On the other hand, I realize my judgment towards other people in a confronting way. Seems that I am not the nice guy that is spiritually evolved like I thought I was before. On one occasion, I watch out the window at the train station, look into the face of a man, and cannot see it. It's just like an even flat mass without a nose, eyes, and mouth. It's a very strange feeling, because it doesn't feel like a real hallucination. All the rest of the image is very stable. It's just his face, the man losing his face. I am shocked and fascinated by this experience. Very real. It's difficult to come to rest at nights. I feel much more energy. I can write my psychological journal very fast, and I also read much faster. The words I read are directly going into my mind without any hindering. I decide to read channeled information. Even that, some concepts are very far away from our scientific status quo. The concepts are brilliant, and I'm able to understand the far-reaching conclusions of the material. While reading, worlds of understanding are created on a sidetrack of my mind. One time, I tried to smoke some marijuana, but it feels totally wrong. The effect is unpleasant. I am glad to get away from it since starting the microdosing. Week 3. I take 400 milligrams 2 times a day. Have to work on the computer a lot this week. It does not fit together. I had the impulse to be much more outside, doing internal work or reading. Due to my job this week, I'm not able to. I have a lot of contact with unknown people. I am very aware of their energies. In business talks, I am on the top of the wave. My argumentation is strong, and people follow my words. In the evening, I am exhausted. Wrong work under the influence of this substance. Nonetheless, I realize my behavioral structures and patterns in contact with business relationships. I have some problems coming down at night. Dreams are weird, very intense, but also clearing, and I'm realizing a lot of crap between the lines. Symbols are strong, but come in totally new ways. It's less poetic or surreal and much denser than in my dreams before. In the morning, I tend to need more sleep. If I get it, I am perfectly energized. If I have to stand up with only 5 hours sleep, I am only functioning without much content in it, but I am still more precise. One evening, I am getting really frustrated about quitting smoking. I realize that as long as I believe I can't control this behavior, I will not control any behavior. So I quit. First days, kinda disciplined aggressiveness. Then, it's becoming better. I feel like coming back to control my thoughts. There is a strong voice pushing me to take just one more cigarette, but I can work with that ego state and resolve it with therapeutic strategies. It's like being my own therapist in a very clear and mental way, without hindering emotional boundaries. If there are no sounds in my surrounding, it's like hearing a loud silence. It can be annoying sometimes while wanting to sleep. On one occasion, I go to my office and have to cross a street, seeing the houses I have to go to. After crossing, I suddenly realize that I walked totally wrong. Even then, I checked the way before, and I was going the right way, but now I was on the corner. Super weird feeling. I realized that feeling safe with our senses and mind is an absolute illusion. I would swear that I was going the right way. Anyway, powerful example of the illusion of space and time are the false safety of thinking we know what's going on. Week 4. I'm taking doses of 400 milligrams to 500 milligrams in the morning and 300 milligrams to 400 milligrams in the afternoon. Right now, I am totally in the process of recognizing thought patterns, misconceptions, and conclusions. I see myself as clear as never before. I can go back to situations that imprinted certain kind of coping strategies and can heal and let go of inappropriate structures. I am totally immersed and absorbed in that process and have less focus on my surroundings and persons, e.g., family and friends. Dreams are totally different than any time before. Very clear, very dense, very weird, but always relieving. From time to time, very bitter, and also frightening. I have problems to go into meditation. My mind is too active. Have problems to connect to certain frequencies or states of mind, but get massive input about my personality structure. Working with clients in therapy is powerful. It's like I open the door and see their problems without them even talking to me. While working with them, my first impressions are nearly 90% right. It's like I'm able to read between the lines without interpreting false presumptions and prejudices. It feels like I'm very sensitive to energy structures, thought forms, and emotional patterns. I do some of the best sessions with them in my whole career. While working, I see complex as other psycho-emotional structures as visual compositions. Sometimes my physical view is a little bit distracted, like having a 1 millisecond offset while moving my head. So far, there is less physical contact with my girlfriend. She is also doing the microdosing with a much lower dose, without having these strong benefits of understanding herself in detail. Maybe this is also connected to not being psychologically trained as I am. She is doing a lot of art, and it helps her. To close the microdose period, I decided to take a larger dose at the end of the week. Last day, 800 milligrams in the morning, 500 milligrams 2 hours later, 400 milligrams in the afternoon. I take it into my mouth, letting it sit there for some minutes, and then swallow. Every sound is very loud. With eyes closed, it's like I'm flying from topic to topic. I cannot control that process. Some thoughts are very dense and heavy. I realize family patterns, relationship patterns, life patterns. There's a huge understanding without judgment. Some areas feel unpleasant, but I know I have to go through it. At a certain point, it's like I'm breaking my head or my mind. I'm becoming very dizzy. Then I suddenly realize that thinking does not have to be heavy and difficult. Directly, I start to feel better. I regress back to situations as a child where I came to the conclusions that thinking hurts. I open my eyes and feel free. In the afternoon, I get a heavy headache, which I nearly never have. I go to sleep. Next morning, I wake up like awakening out of 100-year-long sleep. Right now, I feel the effects becoming less. My mind is becoming fuzzier again. Anyway, I think it was tremendous and marvelous inner work has happened here. From a therapeutic point of view, this substance is absolutely powerful for recreating behavioral and emotional patterns and opening up for energetic realities beside our so-called scientific worldviews. In combination with psychotherapy, it could be very helpful for a lot of neurotic and self-destructive patterns. In low doses, it's absolutely manageable with real life. Even then, it's good to take some time off. I am less depressed, more motivated and active, clearer, and much more focused in general. We'll do again with more free time after a 6 to 10 month pause. Okay, here we are again to talk about Tabernanthe Iboga, a powerful psychedelic that's native to Africa. It's a substance that has seen usage for a very long time now for ritualistic and medicinal purposes, but also as a tool, as we see in today's report, as well as the last report we did on Iboga. There can be many various benefits to be found when microdosing Iboga. At lower doses, it can act as a stimulant, giving aid in various areas of work. Today's report highlights how it may provide benefits in coming to understand others. Beyond just acting as a stimulant, it can help improve mood, focus, and relieve stress. It has very common usage culturally and sometimes very casually. But I think what's even more common is its usage as a potential medicine. Now, Iboga is a very unique substance. It isn't just like any other psychedelic. There are many varying alkaloids to be found in Iboga that can contribute to the effects. One of the most common ones that's thought to provide most of the psychedelic effects is ibogaine, which gets metabolized to noribogaine. These substances are suspected to not only impact traditional psychedelic serotonin receptors, but it may also directly raise serotonin and may impact various amounts of opioid receptors, the kappa opioid being one, which may contribute further to a trip. It may have impact on NMDA receptors, which is what dissociatives impact, and also nicotinic, muscarinic, and sigma receptors may be impacted. There's really just so much that can happen with Iboga, but with all this unique activity going on, it may just be a miracle that some need. Specifically what I'm talking about is its potential to help aid in opioid addiction and potentially other addictions as well. Because of its impact on the kappa opioid receptor, it may have the ability to completely reverse the withdrawal and addictive cravings brought on by opioid addiction. An Iboga trip is something that would last a few days, and the experience itself can be very grueling and difficult to handle. This isn't only because an Iboga trip can be a very intense experience, but also because of the actual effects it can cause the body to produce. Of course, with all this activity going on, you can expect a lot of effects in return, so much so that even in doses that are considered moderate, it can be dangerous, especially if you are an at-risk individual. That is, if you take some kind of medication, like an SSRI, or if you have some kind of condition. This is a substance that can cause restlessness, nausea, sickness, anxiety, tremors, insomnia, QT prolongation, and can be cardiotoxic. It may also influence the chance of a seizure and respiratory depression. Ibogaine, the main active alkaloid, has been prescribed in the past in various areas, but has been restricted due to these health risks and its ability to act as a hallucinogenic. The themes of a trip can be very personal. It can bring you back to certain moments of your life. Seeing ancestors is commonly reported. Ego loss and lucid dream states can occur with all sorts of visuals. It tends to be very spiritual and emotional. Looking more into today's report, especially towards the end of the cycle, I think we can start to see what the birth of those effects are and just how impactful they can be. But I want to compare today's report to the last Iboga experience we did because they both are of microdose experiences. So from the last Iboga report, Microdosing for Anxiety, by D2430, we can see that interestingly, that both of the users were around the same age, D2430 being 34 and Dr. Mind being 32. Now like the title says, D2430 looked to Iboga to help with his anxiety, but also with his current depression and his relationships. And I would say Dr. Mind had similar intentions and they both got similar results. They both received thoughts and feelings that gave them an analytical active perspective on things. They both experienced a boost in mood and motivation, Dr. Mind a bit more so. Specifically, it seems to have given his performance much better results, while D2430 simply goes about his day more so, but gets better results with his happiness and take towards things. Now the doses Dr. Mind took were way higher, and this may explain the strong boost and reaction he had while microdosing. Many of the effects he does claim make it seem like he was borderline tripping. But what they also share in common is what they report in the dreaming. Both report much more vivid dreams, almost like they're lucid dreaming. But we can see there are many similarities and results it produced for these two. Many factors could explain this, like the dosage, the set and setting, and much more. But with all that, we do see that Iboga microdosed can be applicable for many reasons. So we're going to end it there for today. If you did enjoy this report on Iboga, want to see more on Iboga, or anything at all, let me know in the comments below and we'll do that. If you want to see exclusive reports not on the channel, new ones every week, follow my Patreon, link below. And if you did enjoy today's video, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, follow the socials, share the video. It's been Someone That's No One, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.